first of our Wednesday Wisdom webinars. I'm delighted that we're able to bring this CPD to you, and I'm very grateful to Campus 24 who have sponsored the series. Geraldine is here from Campus 24. Geraldine, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi everyone. We're delighted to be sponsoring this session. Thank you, Alicia.
Oh, you're welcome. If you're not familiar with Campus 24, it really is, I think, a game changer for the sector. It enables you to give your parents a real personalised experience as prospective parents. So I would recommend that you have a look at it. Geraldine will be here at the end, and she will give a little bit more information about it once we've heard from Lucy. But without further ado, I would like to hand over to Lucy Barnwell. Those of you who haven't heard Lucy speak, you are in for a treat. Not only is she very experienced, she's worked at 4 different independent schools, Mount St Mary's, Rossall, Manchester High School for Girls and Abbotsholme. She is also completely passionate about this topic of marketing to millennials. So I'm sure she's going to have some brilliant things to say to us today. So Lucy, over to you. Thank you.
Right, hi everyone, how are we doing? Good. So I am going to present on this really, really important topic, and something I am really, really excited to be doing because I've actually been thinking about this for quite a number of years now. The reason this is really important to me is because I am sort of on that cusp of being a millennial, and I'll explain that a bit more, but also because I'm a big believer in customer experience, and customer experience and experiences is very, very key to millennials. And when I've been thinking about this over the last 5 years, that's what I've been trying to do when I've worked in schools, and where I currently work is looking at the experience we are giving to parents, influencers, students. That's really, really crucial. So I'm just going to go straight into the presentation and go through it. So first of all, before we talk about marketing to millennials and millennial parents, what actually is a millennial? And it's really important that we look at exactly who those are. And a lot of people have different sort of viewpoints on bands and ages, but this is sort of a generalized bit of information about it. So they are generally people aged between 26 and 41, born between 1977, 1980 and 1997 and 2000. So that's sort of turn of the millennial. This is the sort of the age of our people we're looking at. They are the first generation to become adults at the turn of the millennium. They sit between Gen X and Generation Z. These people are also called Generation Y, so X, Millennials, Z. And the major characteristic of this group is that they are the very first generation to enjoy smartphones and are marked by an increased use and familiarity with media, comms, and technological advancements. They're also the first global generation too. So this makes them a really exciting audience to actually market to, because they are much more savvy, they're much more aware, they're much more accepting. And these people are real sort of game changers going forward with regard to marketing. So what makes them different to the Generation X? So in Generation X, around about 65 to 1980, follow the baby boomers, 1945 to 1960. As you can see, marketers love to classify people, and I'm a bit obsessed with this actually, and I'll explain towards the end of this slide why. So Gen X, those sort of 65 to 1980 people, they're resourceful, independent, they're resilient, they prefer task-based responsibilities, views promotion as a reward, views technology as a learned skill, and are keen on maintaining a work-life balance, which you wouldn't normally expect actually, because you'd expect that to be more for millennials, but that is actually the case. But for your millennials, they value learning. They are at the moment the most educated people. I have people in my team who have masters, for instance, and have wanted to learn and continue to learn. That's really crucial for them, and really crucial for us in this sector too. They like change. They see managers as equals. This is really interesting because I was just talking before this started about how I'm now managing millennials properly and for the first time, and how different this is compared to when I was in my 20s, and looking up to my boss in awe and fright. They are not like that at all. They are totally about equals. They don't see superiors. It's all about a team setting, collaboration, and need to have an opinion that is valued alongside a need for constant affirmation, praise, and our creative problem solvers. So when I'm talking to you about this, I want you to just think about this. I want you to be reminded of this as we go through this presentation, because these are the value drivers for this generation. Technology, as I mentioned, is a daily part of life. And most importantly, they value experiences over materialism. That is really crucial. They are most or more socially aware and very much more accepting than previous generations. And really, really crucially, is they value purposeful work. They want their work to have meaning. It's not just enough to turn up to work. They want to have a meaningful output with regard to their work. So this is basically our millennial set, and this is what their values are, and this is what is crucial for us to consider when we look at marketing to them. So I'm just going to talk about Xennials, because I am actually a Xennial. There's a little bit of a fact for you. There's actually a 6-year cusp of people, just throwing this in for extra fun, who were born between 77 and 83, who grew up without technology, but somehow, God knows how I do it, managed to actually work social media and technology. So we are, so if you're between 1977 and 1983, you can give yourself a pat on the back. You climbed trees, you enjoyed life without technology, but now you're able to work it. So big pat on the back to you. Back to this. So there are 8 key attributes to consider when you are marketing to the millennials. And there's one really important attribute that's really, really good for our sector, but I've already just mentioned it, so you can't really go wrong. So the first attribute is being authentic. Now, I've actually put these in order of my priorities, actually, and how I look at marketing today and how I make sure the marketing is directed, because I feel that if you're not authentic, if you're not real, then you're not actually going to be able to market to anyone, because in the end, authenticity works with any age group. That's a given, but it is more important for millennials, so much more. Authenticity is very, very rare. I'm going to give you a few brands at the end who I think are what I call really authentic, but it is a very rare thing to be able to do, to align your brand values, to align your narrative, to align every action to be totally purposeful and real and totally transparent. And to be able to do that, if you can do that with your school marketing, college marketing, to ensure that what values you hold as a school or college are shown in everyday actions and words, you can create an authentic brand. And that is really, really crucial going forward. People, millennials, they're quite a skeptical lot. They can see through any kind of rubbish. They need to know that you are being true to your word and true to what you believe in. So word of mouth and reviews are key to your brand, as millennials read information about brands to decide for themselves. Ironic that they do decide for themselves through reading others, but that's really important for them. So that idea of word of mouth, a really old-fashioned marketing tool, is really, really crucial. And I've experienced that in previous organizations where, for instance, post-COVID, we were just coming out of COVID, and the word of mouth in terms of the visits we were having, I think it was around about July 2020, from customers from another school, because they were concerned about various aspects of the school they were currently at. And they came and had a visit, spoke to the key personnel, and they started to talk to other parents who then started to move over, because they felt that they were listening to each other and talking to each other, and then deciding for themselves by coming to actually see what was going on. So that word of mouth and the reviews are absolutely key. And millennials love leaving reviews too. They love talking about things, talking about that collaboration. They want to be part of a conversation, which I'll talk about a bit later. You have to maintain a social media presence. This is a given. We all know this, but millennials like to share triumphs and frustrations publicly and expect brands to do the same. Well, the former especially. Obviously, you don't want to be putting all your frustrations out publicly, but you need to be talking about all the things you're doing, all the positive things, not in a look at me, showy way. It's not about entertainment. It's about ensuring what your stories are out there. It is all about real authentic stories that align to your brand values and align to the values that you have as an institution. That is really, really important. So influencer marketing is becoming more key too. Reach out to any trusted social media celebrities or, former school alumni. They can really help you because millennials do look up to these sort of influencers and listen to them. So if you can use alumni, for instance, to be able to help you do that, then that's something that will be really, that would allow the authenticity to come through, because it depends on the celebrities, it depends on the alumni, but that really helps to cement that authenticity. Sell the why, not the what. It's not about what it's all about, is why it can be beneficial to these parents. Why should they send their child to your school? Not the what, not these academic stats, whatever. It's why it will help them, their child, gain a positive experience. And it's not about just the end result. It's not about those A-level results. It's not about whatever that is. It is all about the journey to enhance their child, to grow their child. And that is really, really important that you consider that when you're looking at your marketing. So some strong brands that I've noted. These have all scored over 93% in global surveys in terms of authenticity. It's really unsurprising to see many of these up here. Disney scores the highest. They are very, very trustworthy. Their brand is very, very strong. Same with Amazon. Whatever you think about the fact they're probably killing the planet with their packaging, they are here to be the most customer-centric organization on their planet. That is what their vision is, and that is what they do. From my personal experience, I have never had a bad situation with Amazon. If I've had an issue, it's been resolved very, very quickly. It is a smooth process. And when you're in this situation where you want a smooth process and a great experience as a millennial, brands like Amazon really, really do deliver. So that is the first slide. Being authentic is absolutely crucial in this kind of thing. So I talked a bit about it, but your brand values really matter to millennials. It is really, really crucial that your values really do reach out to them, because this is the kind of thing they will look at. They will go and see what your organization stands for. That is really crucial. Does it align with their values? And you'll see some stats on this. Millennials are very principled people. 83% care about whether a brand aligns with their personal values. And this is really important to consider. So when you're looking at your values and if you, for instance, do a brand change and looking at your values to change over, really make sure you collaborate fully to ensure your values align with exactly what you stand for. It's no good just picking values out of the air, for instance. They've got to be authentic. They've got to be something that is really, really, really tells a story about your college school. These millennials like to spend their hard-earned money on a worthwhile brand, and millennials consider themselves more brand conscious than Gen X and Gen Z. 7 in 10 millennials consider the brand when they make a purchase, compared to 5 out of 10 as an average across all adults. So this, you can see how important this is to millennials. It is crucial that your brand values really align with what you're doing. And I'm doing this at the moment where I work. We have 4 key values: one team, deliver, integrity, and inclusivity. And I am making sure that our narrative reflects that our actions reflect that everything that we are doing really aligns with our brand values. So millennials, influencers, even I'll talk about one more slide at the end, which is totally not related to this, but it's really important we consider, and that's Gen Z and the student customer. They all then feed in to that idea of believability and credibility. Obviously, that's a given. Sustainability and environmental impact is key. It's interesting, I heard a story the other day from someone who said, actually, we've been doing the green thing for a number of years, but it seems to have made a real headline in the last sort of 15, 20 years. But additionally, schools and colleges are really, really good at this post-COVID. The idea of health and wellness is absolutely crucial. Millennials want purposeful work. They don't want to have to come into work just because you come into work. They want to come into work for a meeting, or they want to come into work to actually, conduct some kind of activity. Otherwise, why waste the petrol? Why are they doing that? They want to ensure that nothing is done that's a waste of money, waste of time, or even that it's not purposeful. That's really, really crucial. They like transparency, you talked about. They like authenticity, and they like customer service, and they get onto social if they don't. There was a situation in Virgin Trains when a man locked himself in the toilet, a young man. He basically stuck on social, locked in a Virgin train, said the number, and within 20 minutes he was out of the carriage and unlocked, basically. And that's the power. They will go on, and they will post things. They will talk about stuff that's happening, because they are very public about that kind of thing. Now, I don't know, in terms of brand values mattering, I don't know if anyone is aware of a recent story on LinkedIn, which it really struck me in the last few days. I don't know if you've heard about the example of Boohoo and Patagonia and talking about brand values and authenticity. And I'm going to wrap these two slides up with this example. So Boohoo announced the appointment of a sustainability ambassador, Kourtney Kardashian. Now, I'm not a massive Kardashian fan, but if I was going to have to choose, she's potentially one of my favorites. But she enjoys quite a fast private jet fueled consumerist lifestyle. They want, obviously, to lead the fashion and e-commerce market globally for their customers, but they continue to add an average of 116 fast fashion garments to their website every day. On the other hand, you will have heard of Patagonia, a purpose-led clothing company that announced the transfer of all of its shares to a not-for-profit organization. They've been going for quite a number of years now. Instead of creating wealth for investors, they've pledged to use all the wealth brought in by their sustainable products to protect the source of all our wealth, the planet. So you can see how important people will view these two different examples in terms of brand values mattering. And that is really, really crucial. In that one little story that's very relevant and very recent, you can see how people will view each, and how each a millennial will then decide whether they wish to spend their money with Boohoo or they wish to spend it with Patagonia. So the next thing for me is experiences. It is over entertainment. Now, it's really important. This slide is really, really important to me. I have always preached about customer experience. It's something I'm a little bit obsessed with, as anyone who knows me knows well. And this is something, this slide is probably one of my favorite slides to put together, actually. So what are we talking about? Experiences are key to millennials. They love to travel. They like the newest Instagram moment and prefer experiences over material possessions. I have to say, I am probably on one of those people. I do love my experiences. I've been fortunate to do some amazing experiences to Kilimanjaro and Base Camp Everest. But I have to say, I'm not one of those people that's obsessed with the camera. I did see a lot of younger people than me right on their camera taking pictures for their newest Instagram moment. And I can see that for them, it's a really big part of their lifestyle, and something that they want to share with everyone. And I've actually seen that at work, that when great things happen to the team, they even tell me they go home and they tell their parents, they tell their family about these amazing things. And that's actually a really important part of who they are. So ensure they have this when they come to your school, this customer experience. Lean into the experience over the product. That is hugely important. When I was at one of my schools, independent schools, we actually had our visits, part of the admissions process, rated by a customer, and he rated us with 3 other schools, and he said that the experience was not great at all, and he was with a friend who was considering the school for his son, and he gave me a list of aspects. We looked at every single one of them, we changed every single one of them, and he came back a year and a half later for the second son of his friend, and he told me that they went to the same 4 schools, including the school I was at, and he said that we had the best visit experience across the other schools, and was quite complimentary on the changes that we've made to do that. And it's a real win when you ensure the experience of the visit really comes out over the product itself. And it's not going to be entertaining. We're not talking about, you know, big shows and things. It's just the little things that you do to create that incredible experience, whether it's, for instance, putting up a sign to say welcome to little Johnny and his family. That is that little thing that makes them think, oh, that's personal, that's directed at me, that's what an amazing experience. To car parking signs, to having, you know, teaching staff welcoming, saying hello Mr. and Mrs. Smith. These things add to that experience. They don't cost money, they're not huge, but it adds to that experience for millennial parents. Millennial parents obviously are very proud and they want to show off about certain things, and their children are an extension of that. So it's really important that you're focusing on the child, asking the child questions, student questions, just as much as you ask the parents, because in the end, yes, the parents may pay for it, but it's the child, the student, that will be going to the school, and they have to actually enjoy that experience, that journey. I'm a big believer in the journey and not the destination. So be personal, be innovative and speak their language. I'm not talking about being, you know, totally informal, but it's more about listening to them and then reacting to what they're saying with their language. So you're not talking about jargon. I remember one couple of years ago, my colleague had used the word exeat, and I said to me, well, what does an exeat mean? And I'm like, and I explained it, you know. So try and be a bit more innovative and sort of at their level. It's not about being totally formal, but not totally stripping back the formality. It's about that balance. Sell the why, as I said, not the what. Help them by showing the added value you and your school, college can provide for their child. It is much more than just about academic results and this, that, and the other. It is so much more about the enrichment opportunities, the idea of their child developing over the time and having an experience at the school or college. That's really, really important. And you cultivate the relationship. It's all about relationships, a two-way conversation. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in another slide. Ask for their thoughts and listen to truly understand. As I told you, they love collaboration at the beginning of the slide. Collaboration is key. Ask them for their thoughts, get their feedback. They may come up with ideas to make it even better. You know, so don't forget to get their feedback, because they do love to give you those reviews. And that's really, really crucial. Finally, it's not a show, as I've mentioned, so make sure it's an authentic experience. So prioritize your mobile first marketing. Millennials are the generation that has smartphone first. 85% own a smartphone. So ditch your outbound marketing methods to this group, such as magazine ads, direct mail campaigns, and traditional media. If you can't force yourself to do that, because you're thinking, oh, but grands like to talk and grands and granddads like to have a bit of a read, really push all your marketing to digital, away from what I call the offline, because that's where it is. And if COVID has not taught us anything, it's all about digital now. In fact, I had some stats come through from where I work at the moment. And for the first time, our website was being reviewed by 91% of mobile traffic. That is huge to see that. And that's where it's going. That is your millennials coming through. So smartphone usage counts for nearly 92% of the UK in 2021. And this is going to increase by 2025 to nearly 94%. Global mobile ad spend will surpass desktop advertising this year. Now that is huge. So if you're not looking at your mobile ad spend, then you really are not going to meet or reach these parents, which is absolutely crucial. Social media is key: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. And it's really interesting to think, oh, Facebook, they're not what you call your silver surfers who are really onto Facebook. Well, actually, they're still, don't forget, this is up to your 41-year-olds. They're still on Facebook. You know, they still have those accounts, and it's such a great functionality in terms of advertising. So don't, move away from that. Look at things like Instagram as well. That's really, really crucial, because it may be for a little bit of a younger generation, but you're still looking at mid-20s to mid-30s. Pinterest, very much female led. That in the end, women do make the decision. and YouTube, because it's really all about video. If you haven't got dynamic content happening through your mobile advertising, then, you know, showing exciting things happening, content that's rich in terms of your values and the aspects that you do really well, that really shore up your brand, then it's not going to appeal to this millennial market. They want to improve their lives, so make sure your content can show this about your brand through video, blog, ebooks, and share your information. Make sure all your information is shared through these various areas, but make sure it's relevant. Don't just chuck stuff on there. And I'm going to be honest now, just because a teacher says, I want you to record this, I want this, my news story to go on up, it may just not be right. It may just be something that's you park and you use it in the end of year credits for the end of year assembly. Not everything has to go on there just because a curriculum member of staff has pulled in this, that, and the other. It may not work. So ensure that your content is relevant, that it's rich as well, and that it adds value to your brand, and that it'll be seen by those millennials. So it's about creating a conversation, not a one-way information push. That is crucial as well. It goes without saying, you need to use visuals. This is really, really important. I mean, I have to say, although I'm on the cusp, I actually learned through imagery. It's much easier and it's much more colorful. It's much more effective. I'm a Pinterest user as well. And these things really do make a difference when it comes to marketing. Pictures and video are key, which is why Instagram and TikTok, YouTube are so popular. I know you're thinking TikTok is for much, much younger, but actually no, a lot of people I know in their early 30s use TikTok for news, to see what's going on. So it's not just the premise of your teenagers at all. And they are becoming very, very popular. YouTube obviously is very popular. And I'll talk to you about a brand who grew their brand phenomenally through YouTube. Interactive websites are crucial to ensure a two-way conversation, which I mentioned in the last slide. So ensure there are lots of opportunities for conversation, feedback, and a chance to engage through forms, through social platforms. You know, make sure there's a way that people can contact you if necessary, and send feedback as well. If you want, I mean, we at one of my schools, we actually sent feedback forms after a visit and feedback forms after offers are sent out, just to get that feedback from people all the time. And people do love to give feedback and tell you what they think about things. So use that to help advance your brand. Get students to take over your social media for a day, or use caption contests or customer highlights. These things can really highlight that sort of conversation to others who want to see that there is that there. And I've been talking about this, consider the journey, not the destination. Although nothing beats a top performing sixth former to sell your product, and I know that. Use video case studies to engage with millennials in a meaningful way. Look at little Johnny in year 7 and in year 9. Look at that journey so people can see what their children could enjoy throughout their journey through the school. So this is my example. You'll all know GoPro. GoPro was this tiny organization a number of years ago. And what they did was they used YouTube. What they asked people was to put their GoPro videos onto YouTube. And because GoPro is the most phenomenal, obviously, technology, it basically grew overnight through YouTube videos and people putting them on and showing them their experiences. Again, millennials are all about experiences, showing their biking antics, their free running, all of these things that they could show, which allowed that brand to grow phenomenally overnight. Now, this is something I firmly believe in, blogging. Everyone should have a social media strategy. And if you haven't got one, I'm really happy to give out a template one if anyone's really interested at this, because this is something, although I consider myself a dinosaur, I went on a social media academy a number of years ago, a 3-day academy on how to create social media strategies and what was needed to be included. And I've learned more since then through working with various technological companies, which has been really helpful. But the most important thing is ensure your blog is up to date. So for me, I love to read information in a newsy, sort of a story-like manner. Stories really appeal to me. I think that's why John Lewis Christmas adverts do really, really well, that story feel to it. And when I go on some of my favorite websites to find out the latest bit of information, well, nothing annoys me more when a blog is 6 months old or a year old. If you're going to do it, do it. If not, don't bother. This is really important, that your blog is there to give really useful information that millennials will lap up and will take nuggets from. And social media strategy should include blogging from key personnel, as well as guest bloggers too. That could be students, that could be alumni. Make it a reason to visit your website. And blogging is important because those little Google bots, they love fresh, recent and updated content, and blogs can really help with this. And well-written blogs, would you believe it, create a 55% increase in website visitors. And it's all about that traffic. That's really, really important. Blogs allow heads or people who write them to become thought leaders, and they are people that millennials will certainly follow. And that is really, really crucial. A good blog helps to reach out, allows key personnel to hone their messages over time, to be thought leaders, and millennials do like to follow people who are seen as leaders in their field. I have to say, I can only use my personal example for this. I started writing blogs in 2019, and I was told it will take me 18 months to get anywhere with them. And absolutely right. The summer of 2020, I started to get a lot of traction from the blogs that I write on customer experience. And I can honestly say it's been the best thing I've ever done. And I religiously ensure it's up to date. The only time that I have not posted, I post out of offices on and why you shouldn't work when you're on holiday, is last week for the Queen. It's the only time that I have not updated, basically. So yeah, it is really important for you to ensure your blog is, if you say you're doing it on a certain date, you do it. And that is really, really crucial because people will look out for that. Make inbound marketing hugely important. This is probably really, really crucial in terms of marketing. So to understand inbound methodology, as I'm all about, not about jargon, it's the method of growing your organization by building meaningful, lasting relationships with your consumers, prospects, and customers. It's about valuing and empowering these people. This is what millennials want to reach their goals. It's all about them at any stage in their journey with you, whether it's purchasing, whether it's getting the right information, thinking that's not for me right now, whatever that is, they want to feel good when they have that relationship with you, and therefore purchase now or in the future. Because when your customers succeed, you succeed, because your customer's going to tell everyone else about you. That example I told you about a school just post-COVID, the visits. So this can be applied in 3 ways. Attract, you're drawing in the right people with that valuable, rich content and the conversations that establish you as a trusted advisor. And you do that through that brand, those values, creating that authenticity, that transparency, creating narrative that really meets those values. That's really, really important, and keep doing that. I know I seem like I'm banging on about this, but this is really crucial now. Then you engage, you present the insights and solutions that align with their interests and goals. They're more likely to buy from you. So your school is not going to get every single customer out there. You have certain strengths. Play to those strengths. It's really interesting because I've worked with colleagues over the years that talk about, oh, what's the competition doing? What's that? And I say, forget the competition, focus on your customers, focus on what they want, focus on their needs, keep a quarter of an eye on what the competitors are doing. But in the end, your customers, they're going to be telling you the information, or they're going to be switching to your competitor. So listen to your customers. Delight, providing help and support to empower your customers, these millennials, to find success with their purchase. And that's really important because retention is just as important as recruitment. You need to ensure that when that millennial parent has chosen your school or college, that you're continuing to give them positivity, that you are continuing to ensure your brand matches exactly what they've bought into, because they will switch. That's just how it is, because that's why it's so important to them. So I use this in terms of a really, really good approach to inbound marketing. it's very old fashioned, but you can get digital aspects. I love the Waitrose magazine. Whenever I get the chance to go in there, I pop in the magazine. They use their ingredients in these fantastic recipes, and it draws you into that relationship with Waitrose, which I love. But also what they did a few years ago, I don't know if anyone is a Waitrose shopper. I think if I know I shop in Waitrose every week, I'll know I've made it. They talked about basically a really fun way of engaging people with their brand. So on social media, they sent out this fantastic sort of conversation saying, why is it that you like to shop at Waitrose? And just asked people to come on in and post back. And some people said, I like their really, and I'm not joking, large parking spaces where I can fit my Range Rover, or the hay at Waitrose for Annabelle's horse is better than something else. And although it could be seen as quite negative, there was this conversation happening between Waitrose and its audience. And for some, it may have shored up their brand, where the customers that shop there, those sorts of things. And it allowed that conversation with a little bit of humor as well, which engaged those customers with the brand. And finally, I talked about 8, and this is the last one. Education is a key part for these people. It is absolutely huge. This is the generation that values education and learning, and they are the most educated generation ever, and they will want that for their children. So you have a captive audience here. As I said, a lot of my team have masters. They've gone from, and they've come out with huge debt, but it's hugely important to them that they get educated and they learn and they continue learning in the world of work. And that's what I hear from my team at the moment, younger team. They all want to continue learning, and they will want that for their children because that is what they value. And female millennials lead on all other generations in terms of further education, higher education. And we all know that in terms of schooling, women make the decisions in the end. Other factors to consider, some of them not so good, some of them great. They're very, very educated, but are not the most wealthy. They focus on a healthy lifestyle. So you need to make sure on your visits that you are feeding them, giving them a school lunch, for instance, and that is healthy. And actually food is one of the most important parts of the selling point. At one of my schools previously, we always invited people for lunch or tea, sort of an afternoon tea. And if they couldn't do either, we'd send them away with a luxury packed lunch. So they could try our food and see how healthy it was. Other things like reluctance to buy a home for now, putting off marriage for good. They aren't becoming parents, not great, and driven by wanderlust. But that means that there at some point they will come back to these things and have had great experiences and learned a lot and will be really, really savvy. So this is going to be exciting for educationalists to meet those challenges going forward. Finally, I wanted to finish on Gen Z, the student customer. These are digital natives. This gives you an idea of the children as well. So you'll see a little bit more development from the millennials. They're born in from 97, 2000 to 2012. The world they live in has never felt safe. They say that sort of 9/11 is sort of a sort of real changing point. They're very accepting. They're very health conscious like parents. They value privacy. They love their audience anonymously. They're entrepreneurial and they're worried about their future prospects. They're changing the distinction between childhood and adulthood. They're much older in the way they see things because of their worries, and they look to the future much more. Current generation, just for your information, is Generation Alpha. They are born between 2012 and in 2 years' time, and the first generation to be born wholly in the 21st century to mainly millennial parents and siblings of Gen Z. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm really happy to take any questions if you'd like to.
Thank you, Lucy. That was absolutely fascinating. And it was really interesting to hear you talk about Disney and word of mouth, because I think they're things that have been around for years. Another thing that struck me is, it's quite ironic using Waitrose as an example, because it's not really something that we think of when we think of millennials. The other one that sprung to my mind was Lakeland. Again, yes. A real middle-aged brand, but one that does engage really well with customers. Yep. So thank you so much. That was fascinating. If anyone's got a question, please can you either unmute yourself and ask, or if you want to put it in the comments. just on the comments, there is a feedback form in there. We'd be really, really pleased if you could fill it in. If any of you are passionate about a topic, we'd love to hear you speak. One thing we do like always hearing from is case studies. If there's something at your school you've done that you're really proud of, we'd love to have you along to a session. So I'll just see if we've got any questions coming in. Looks like you must have covered everything, Lucy. Nobody has any questions. So in that case, I'm going to hand over to Geraldine, and I think it fits in so well having Campus 24 here, because all that talk about personalisation is exactly what Campus 24 does. So I'll be honest, that's more by good luck than good management that the two link together so well, but I will hand over to Geraldine now, and thank you again, Lucy, that was brilliant.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm just going to share my screen now, and it was really interesting listening to Lucy and, you know, talking about focusing on customers, listening to what customers actually want and delivering the content that they want as well through digital. So I'm Geraldine anyway, so I'm from Campus 24. Hopefully you can all see my screen now, but Campus 24 is basically a cloud-based solution that will allow you to deliver content. Just let me get this going here, over here. And allow you to deliver a personalised admissions journey to prospective parents. And it's really been built around 3 core principles: personalising every school communication to every parent and making sure that they actually receive the information they've asked about, engaging parents quickly and easily, providing them content that's interesting, such as videos, podcasts, and more importantly, Campus will allow you to track, so you'll be able to see what parents are engaging with. So it's a really easy to use, it's versatile, it's adaptable, and as I said, it lets you create and share content with parents, prospective parents and families as they go on that admissions journey with you, and telling them a digital story of what life is like at your school. So schools are using Campus 24 to help them increase student admissions, increase their conversions, and differentiate their school offerings. So again, Lucy was talking about, you know, competition and how do you set yourselves apart when parents are actually shortlisting schools. So offering a more personalised experience and again, delivering the content they've actually asked for. You can also use Campus to host impactful open events, use it as a follow-up tool as well. So once they've been to an open day or an open evening, you'll be gathering information. Are they interested in the prep school, the junior school, the senior school? So instead of sending them a generic follow-up, why not send them a personalized communication? Again, this is something you can do using Campus 24 as a platform to do that. And for those of you that might be using international agents as well, it will allow you to control the content that you share with those international agents. And hopefully, the other thing it's going to do is save your admissions teams time and money as well. So you'll all have a fantastic website. It's a great shop window. It's probably the first port of call that parents visit when they are looking at schools and shortlisting schools. It caters for the masses though. It hosts all your content, and unless you've got a team of developers on hand, it's probably really difficult to make any changes to it. You've also probably perhaps still printing your prospectus. You may have a downloadable PDF, which is static. So how do you go about ensuring, again, parents can actually find the information that they actually want? So when they visit the website, if, for instance, I'm interested in a prep school, but I also want information on boarding, how many clicks am I going to have to go through on your website to actually find that information? It's probably quite a lot. So Campus 24 is the platform that's going to bring everything together and sort of glue everything together and allow you to take parents on that personal journey as they make inquiries to your school. And it will support you at every stage of your admissions funnel. So when you take an initial inquiry from a parent, to digitalising your prospectus. A lot of schools will digitalise this prospectus. So instead of sending out a printed prospectus that's got everything about the school from prep through to senior school, why not digitalise your individual entry points? And I'll show you how you can do that in a few minutes. You can also use the platform to personalise details about your open events, your open evenings, and then use it as an event follow-up as well. And more importantly, by personalising all your communication, it's going to help you secure those applications to your school and set you apart from the competition as well. So this is how Campus looks on a mobile, desktop and tablet. And I'm going to show you the real thing in a minute. So what we have here is a digitalized version of a senior school experience. So this could be for any school, and it could be any entry point. It could be the prep school, it could be the junior school. This is a unique URL link which you can send out to prospective parents and families, and then they can open this experience and share it with grandparents and family members. We brand the site up using your school logo and colours, and then we have scenes or a menu running down the left-hand side, which tell a digital story of what life is like at your school. And this menu or scenes can be customized to anything you want it to be. Okay, so this link up here is what you share with the parents. You can send this out on a newsletter, on an email, and then within the broad experience itself, we pull your content over. So this is all the content that is relevant to all those inquiries that are just interested in the senior school. Okay, so what we have here are hotspots. And behind these hotspots, you can host any type of content. So it might be a PDF, it might be a video, it might be a podcast, and then parents can watch this. All these hotspots are trackable, and you can have calls to action as well. So application forms to apply to the school. You can have details on your fees. And then as we go through the menu, as I say, we're telling a digital story. You might include a campus tour. And parents, prospective students can view this information on their mobile, their desktop, their computer. And the other thing, well, I'll quickly show you down here as well, we also have an auditorium. So this is where you can host your live events. You may have parents that only one parent can come to the open evening, but you can host live discussions, and you can also have your recorded sessions for parents to watch at a later date. Now that is an entry point. It's one entry point. It's a sixth form experience. But if we think about, just let me go back into this presentation here. If we think, just let me show you an example here. Sorry. There we are. So if we think about your admissions team take an inquiry, and Emily is 15 years old. Emily and her parents are really interested in a sixth form place at your school. And Emily wants to do the IB pathway. She's also got a keen interest in hockey, music, and enjoys chemistry. And she's also really keen to find a school that's going to support her university application. So what would you normally do with this type of inquiry? You might send Emily and her parents a PDF, which they can download. You may invite them along to an open day, perhaps. You may ask them to visit the website, or you may just send them some information out on an email. But if we're looking at personalization and how you can set yourselves apart and take them on a personalized journey, this is what you could be doing using Campus 24. So this is where we really start to drill down and personalize into what families are actually looking for. So this is a personalized experience for Emily, and I'm going to show you the real thing now. So this is how it would appear on Emily's mobile or a computer. And then we're going to go into Emily's experience. So this is a personalised experience which you could be sending out to all your inquiries for the different entry points in your school. So this is a unique link, which is unique to Emily and her family and their areas of interest. We've got the broad experience and the information of what life is like at sixth form school, but then what we've got here are Emily's areas of interest. So she's interested in hockey. So she can watch a video perhaps from the head of the hockey team. She can meet the squad. She can look at the sports fixtures for this academic year on a form there, which is just loading up. She's also got an interest in chemistry. So again, this particular school have hosted video content in here. And behind all these hotspots, as I mentioned earlier, they're all trackable. So you as a school will be able to see exactly what parents are engaging with. And then as we come down, she was also interested in finding a school that would support her university application. So we can go into the information there and we can look at the information that the school has shared. So within the campus, you can quickly create and share content. And this is something we'll run alongside your current website. And then as we go back into this presentation, so this is just a really quick overview of how you could potentially use Campus. So if anyone is interested in having a one-to-one demonstration, do let us know. But 3 main reasons why schools are using Campus: it allows you to personalize. So a question for you guys would be, can your website provide a personalized experience? Can it engage parents quickly and easily and provide them the information that they wanted? And more importantly, can you track the information? And I'll just share some of our schools with you here. So again, if anybody's interested in finding out a little bit more about Campus 24, do get in touch with us. We can do a one-to-one demonstration and you can contact me direct at geraldine@campus24.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Geraldine. I hope everybody enjoyed that quick run through. I have to say, having seen it in action, if I was in a school, I really would recommend it, because it just saves you so much time, because you can just quickly pull it together rather than answering query after query about, what time, where's the bus route, what time's the club, and all of that. So it's a real time saver as well as a really good experience for the people on the other end. So thank you, Geraldine, and thank you, everybody. If you can complete the feedback form, which I've put in the chat, we would be really, really grateful. This is a new initiative for us at the Independent Schools Portal, running these webinars. So we're keen to make sure that they grow and evolve to suit the needs of the sector. So please, please, please do fill in the form if you can. And we'll let you all go to get your lunch now if you've not already had it. No, you probably all had it before it started, didn't you? Because that's what normally happens in schools for the support of those in the not teaching. And have a good week. Thank you. Thank you, Geraldine and Lucy too. Bye.